Hello, everyone. Yeah, welcome to today's teaching. The topic today is living a life of impact. So, I started by saying, as Christians, we are not ordinary. We are not like every other person. We are different race. We are not shallow, and because the Spirit of God that lives in us, we ought to live a life of impact. We don't live. We are not ordinary, so we can't live an ordinary life. We ought to live a life different from others. We don't think small, we don't act small. We think God's kingdom. So our first text is taken in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 19. And I read, it says, if it is in this life that we have hope, then we are most miserable among men. That is, if all our hope is in this life, we are more miserable than other people. The calling God has upon us is huge, and God sees us as big people. He doesn't see us small. So if you are thinking small, you're just changing yourself. We ought to see our life the way God sees us. Our thinking and our mentality and abilities should reflect God's purpose and should reflect how big God is. We are not small and we are not pitiable. We are not miserable people. We have the advantage of God's Spirit instead of us. We are the most advantaged race on earth. Even though when we act as if we don't know this, that's a fact. We are advantaged. We're not people to be pitied as Christians. We are going to use the story of Gideon to illustrate that God sees us differently from the way we see ourselves. You may think you're small, you may think you're not able, you may think you're pitiable, but that's not who God sees, because that's not whom He created. He created a mighty man, and that's whom He sees in you. So anyhow you act, God is not seeing that you're acting small. The main ingredients you need to succeed in this world is accepting Christ, knowing Him, working with Him. That's the equation that will set you apart from every other person. It makes it a whole lot of difference from the person that knows God and from an unbeliever. That accepting God, knowing Him, working by His standard, set you apart. That's a situation. That knowing Christ can write your story. If you allow God to do that, can write your family story. If you allow Him to do it. God is constantly watching out for those that will seek Him, those that will say, God, here I am. God is waiting for those who will say, God, here I am, use me. God is constantly looking for those who will go all the way out for Him. Not those that will follow Him double-mindedness. God wants those that follow Him fully, accept Him, trust Him, no doubt. He can do a lot of things in our life. So like I said before, we're going to use the story of Gideon, taken from the book of Judges, chapter 6, verse 12 to 14. So, and I read, verse starting off, it says, but the Lord is with us. Why has all this happened to us? Why are all the wonders that our ancestors told us about? Does not this statement sound like us today? You know, when something happened, we said, God promised to do this for us. How come this is happening to me? How come my child is sick? You look at the things you're seeing with your own brain, and you don't want to look at what God is doing. If God is for us, why am I going through all these stuff? Why is God delaying in bringing to pass what He had promised? But the angel of the Lord told Gideon and insisted, go in the strength that you have and save Israel in the hand of the Midians. And God said, am I not the one sending you? God sent Gideon to go and defeat the enemies of Israel. Gideon looked at himself and said, God, I'm not able. So he looked at himself with his own eyes, and he was still doubting the angel of the Lord. So verse 14 of it said, the angel told him, go in the strength that you have and save Israel in the hand of the Midianites. God asked Gideon, am I not the one sending you? Gideon is looking at his feeble hands, his ability, thinking that he's going to fight with his own ability. But the greater one lives in him. Almighty God is one sending Gideon, and he's doubting. This is how we sound today. When God is calling us to do this, you weigh the situation with your own mind and think, how can this happen? We should take our eyes away from man's feeble strength and understand that we are not called to war by our own strength. Whatever God asks you to do is not by your own strength. We are to war by the strength of God. All God requires from us is to see. What God requires from us is for us to see from the eyes of faith. God said, do this thing. Don't look at how big that mountain is standing. Use your eyes of faith to look at that situation God is showing you. God is looking at your commitment. God is looking at your seriousness. When we commit to do something, having faith in God, He knows how to bring it to pass. When God says do this and you accept it, God knows what to do. God knows the buttons to press. All He needs is your commitment, your acceptance. You're willing to do so. He knows what to do. What you're saying is not what He's saying. You don't know where there are problems. He knows. So all He needs for you to accept to do, He knows how to bring it to pass. The scripture says, by no arm of flesh shall any man prevail. When you keep looking at situations, you can't prevail by looking at them. God is not expecting you to use your strength to live as a Christian. He expects us to depend on Him. As a Christian, God is not expecting you to do all you need to do by your own strength. So verse 15 of where we're reading said, pardon me, my Lord Gideon replied, but how can I save Israel? Now, when the angel insisted that go, the Lord is asking you to do this, Gideon now starts giving excuses. Gideon now replied, but how can I save Israel? My clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I am the least in the family. Gideon asked God this question, and this sounds like us today. Gideon is saying, my Lord, how can I do this? I'm not even among the strong tribe. I'm not among the strongest. My own clan is the weak. How can I be the one to go and save Israel when they are mighty people in more other tribe? So Gideon is sounding like us today. This is the way some of us sound. We have millions and one excuses to give in both the things God is asking us to do and also in our own personal life. Yeah, in your own personal life, there are some things you need to do. You wait, you look at it, it looks so huge. So, but it's not always like that. I've found out in my own personal life that things most times are not what always. Sometimes I take some classes in a school. So sometimes there was some kind of assignment they would give us. It looks so huge to me. I'm like, how can this be done? But most time when I start it, you see that things are not always as huge and difficult as you may think. Now, plus the added advantage of being a child of God, the Spirit of God can simplify everything for you or make it easy for you. So it's always good for us to depend on God and trust on God, not look at things with our own physical eyes. That thing you think is impossible to achieve, if you attempt, you can find that it is really either that you need what you need, or you may find out that it is not as serious as you think it is. This is speaking normally as a human being, but now remember that now you're no longer ordinary. You have the advantage of the Spirit of God helping you. Now, verse 16 of where we're reading, God is telling Gideon now, I'll be with you, and you will strike down the Midianites, leaving none to live. God insisted, go, I'll be with you. I'm going to strike down the Midianites, leaving none. So this statement is made to Gideon just to say, but it is also made to us. How many times God has told us? This statement is, even though He said to Gideon, but it's also talking to us. God is asking us to move. And with you, fear not, I'll help you and I'll sustain you. We hear these words every day from the Bible, from our prophetic word. God says, I'll be with you. We hear them, we know them, we understand them, but sometimes we are still weak. The Bible is saying, call upon me in the day of trouble, I'll answer you. These are all scriptures affirming what God is willing to help. God is willing to help, ready to answer when we call, ready to intervene in situation we can trust Him. God can intervene in every situation, but it depends if we are calling Him, if we are depending on Him. No matter how huge the problem is, call upon Him, He will answer you. How do you hope to live here by your effort? I'm asking a question. How do we as Christians hope to live here on earth by your effort? Things are so different. A lot of things we don't understand. When you live your life by your strength and intellect, you are living an ordinary life. We are not called to live as an ordinary person. We are not called to live for an ordinary life. Excuse me. A preacher once said, that where he was coming from, I think the population where he's coming from, most of them are Christians, and maybe they have 80% Christianity. People go to church. So he came to America. He said, you know, notice that on Sundays, in churches in America, most churches, you don't see a huge number of people in church, maybe quite a handful or some number of people. And he noticed that a lot of people are not really Christian like that. So this man said, after seeing all the discovery, inventions, and breakthroughs in medicine that we've been achieved here in America, the man said, can you imagine, for a split second, can you imagine all Americans can achieve without God? The man was surprised, all the things that were done, all the good streets, all the huge buildings. Say, can you imagine what Americans can achieve without God? Now imagine all these good discoveries and inventions we have done with the Spirit of God. See all the inventions, breakthroughs in science, man can achieve with his intellect without depending on God to tell him step by step what to do. Can you imagine for a split second if these great discoveries are directly motivated, inspired, and given by the Spirit of God? I'm saying in the medical world, imagine all the medicines that are produced. Imagine we depended on God every time. The scientists, everything they are doing, everybody's praying fast before they do anything. Imagine how this world would have been. I'm not saying that these people that so far, what they have done so far, is not good. It's good by man intellect. But I'm saying, imagine how it would have been if they prayed, they fasted before they make any research. How wonderful it would have been. Because God would have directed. Maybe we wouldn't have so much sicknesses now. Maybe there would have been so much breakthrough in medicine than what we currently have. So just don't think yourself small. Even as Christians, even as believers, we are coming. Some people say, oh, all these big discoveries done on earth, are they done by Christians? I'm saying, don't worry, we are coming. Christians are coming. Time will be by before somebody do any big invention, they will pray, they will fast, they will seek the face of God. Christians are coming. It's not going to be the way as if unbelievers are making a lot of discoveries. Christians are coming. When you see the great change, when God is transferring the wisdom, the abilities to his people. So God has given us so much. Trust in him in every area of your life, in your business, in your career. God will use us to show off his power. If we Christians stand firm, depend on him, call upon him in everything we do, God is going to use us Christians to show off his power. He is a mighty and a big God. And he's kind. And he's wonderful. So he's waiting for us to align ourselves and call upon him. And get ready. He can do so much through us. We are not small. Don't look at yourself as small. That's why the topic is living a life of impact. You can make so much impact if you depend on God. Now, we are still reading the Judges. Verse 22 of it is trying to round off the story. Finally, Gideon now agreed to work with God. Finally, God did as he told Gideon and fought by himself for Gideon defeated the Midianites. So, like I said, finally, Gideon now agreed to work with God, and God worked by him. Gideon didn't need to fight. God did the fighting. The Midianites were all destroyed. God caused the armies of Midianites to turn against each other. God used the armies of Midianites. They turned against each other and killed themselves. Gideon didn't need to fight in the battle. The Spirit of God intervened and moved the people to fight against each other. He made them to hear a great noise. They were like, who are these coming? They thought it's the Israelites have gone to hire more men. So they start fighting and killing each other. So God is awesome. So much he can achieve through us if we are willing to listen to him, if we are willing to obey. However, Gideon played his part. Before God could achieve so much through Gideon, he played his part. First of all, God asked him to kill and destroy all the idols in his father's house. Now, God cannot be using Gideon to fight when in his father's house he have idol, he have other gods he's serving. God is a jealous God. The first commandment is that shall not have that means serving another God. So Gideon cannot have idol. He's worshiping idol, which he's not worshiping, it's his father, and God is using him. So the first thing he did was to get rid of the idol, kill them, remove them, clean himself, clean the house before he can now fully stand for God. So that is also what God expects us to do. Gideon did his part by destroying all the idols in his father's house, as God instructed him. He had to do his part first before God can use him. So in the same place we read, 6 verse 25 to 28, God asked him to destroy all the idols and high places in his father's house before he can walk with him. God is a jealous God. You cannot leave the idols in your life and expect God to take you serious. The idols in your life might not be physical idol like Gideon is. It might be something you worship. It might be worshiping your job. It might be worshiping your case. It might be things you trust so much. Or even your phone. You can't pray without looking at your phone. So you must, or your sin or some habits. So those things, you can find a way to drop them and face God. God is a jealous God. God will not want you to serve something or put something before him. If it is your prayer time, drop the phone, put the phone, face God. God is a jealous God. You cannot be praying and you're checking your phone every second to know what is happening. You cannot be say you're serving God, you won't give him attention. Your job is more important. You don't have time to pray. You don't have to tell me you only go and walk. Or any other thing, or any other habits you put above God. God doesn't want that. God wants us to give him our 100% attention. He is a jealous God. God said, my glory I will share with no man. So if God is calling you to his service, look around to see if there's something you must put away. Anything you value ahead of God. Yours may not be physical idol, like I said. It could be something else. Destroy those things. Remove them. Take away the habit. If you are the person that's, I don't have routine, I don't know when to pray, make a habit. Since you know that you're serving God, now you need to serve God. Make a habit, make a routine. This is time for God. Drop everything, close your door, shut down your laptop, whatever you're doing. Give God that 1 hour, that 30 minutes, or the number of time you want to give God. Give him his quality time. Give time for him. Serve him. Serve him. He's worthy. He's faithful. He's more than able. He's worthy. You're not serving a God that is not what is even to you. No. He does everything for you. He does a lot for you. He's your father. Remember, he created you. So if you call you to serve you, if God called you to serve him, give him the attention. Accept it. It's even an honor that God called you to come and serve him, work for him. It's an honor. Because the life you have, he gave it to you. So that's all we have for today. Just a short exhortation for us to live a life of impact. Don't live a life. You're not small. Don't live anyhow. You're not small. God made you big. Look at yourself from the eyes of Jesus Christ. Look at how great God is. Now, if God lives in you, how can you be small? How can you not achieve? So we are successes if we decide to serve God and obey him and give him time to express himself through our life. Thank you for listening.